This is Dave Wirt with your Ag Market News Weekly Summary. This week in Pennsylvania cattle we had 3,606 head compared to 3,068 last week and 4,516 a year ago. Compared to last week's markets, steers sold steady to firm, Holsteins were mostly $1 to $2 lower, heifers were mostly steady, cows were $1 to $2 higher, and bulls sold mostly steady to firm. Steers high choice and prime were $122.50 to $124.75, choice were $118.50 to $121.50. Select steers were $113 to $117. Holstein steers high choice and prime were $104 to $106. Choice were running about $98.50 to $102. Selects were running $90 to $95. Heifers high choice and prime were $119.75 to $123. Choice were $115 to $118. Selects were $109 to $112. Cows breakers were $77 to $78.50. Boners were $73.75 to $78, and lean was $71.75 to $75.75. Average dressing bulls were running about $88.75 to $93. Feeder cattle, there wasn't any big runs again this week. Next week we have some larger sales. Steers medium and large frame 5 to 700 pounds running about 120 to 130. Heifers medium or large frame 130 to 500 pounds or 122 to 129. 5 to 700 pounds are running about 112 to 120. And bulls medium or large frame 130 to 500 pounds or 130 to 147, with heavier running about 122 to 127. Calves this week there was 2,364 head compared to 2,470 last week and 2,990 a year ago. Compared to last week, bull calves were mostly $3 to $5 higher, and heifers were running about $3 to $5 lower. Holstein bull calves, number one's 95 to 120 pounds or 170 to 190. Lighter calves are about 136 to 154. Number two's 95 to 120 pounds or 144 to 170. Number three's running about 105 to 134. Heifer calves, number one's running 104 to 123, and number twos are about 73 to 97. Hogs this week there was 1,307 compared to 968 last week and 1,361 a year ago. Compared to last week, barrels and gilts are about $1 to $2 lower. Sows were about $2 to $3 lower. 3 to 500 pounds, 49 to 54% lean. Barrels and gilts were 53 to 55.50. 45 to 49% lean. We're about 53 to 53.50. 3 to 500 pound sows are 48 to 54.50. 5 to 700 pounds are 62 to 64. Sheep and lambs this week there was 1,274 compared to 3,403 last week and 2,747 a year ago. Compared to last week, lambs were about $10 to $20 higher. Ewes were about $5 to $10 lower. Choice lambs 40 to 50 pounders were about 142 to 160. 70 to 90 pounders are averaging about 135 to 150. 90 to 110 pounds are 120 to 150. Good ewes this week were about 90 to 120 pounds were about 60 to 64. Heavier ewes were about 60 to 70. Utilities were running about 45 to 55. And goats this week there was 1,365 compared to 2,821 last week and 3,151 a year ago. Compared to last week, kids were about $10 to $20 higher. Nannies were about 10 to 20 higher, and billies were about $10 to $15 higher. Kids selection ones 40 to 60 pounders were $98 to $130 a head. 60 to 70 pounders were $130 to $154. 70 to 90 pounders were $142 to $167 a head. Number twos 40 to 60 pounders were running about $50 to $98 a head. 60 to 70 pounders were $97 to $120, and 70 to 90 pounders were $97 to $130. Selection 3s 40 to 60 pounders were about $32 to $50. Selection 1 nannies 80 to 130 pounders were $130 to $162. 130 to 150 pounders were $135 to $170. Selection 2s 110 to 125 pounders were $107 to $127. Selection 3s about the same weight, were running about $50 to $107. And billies this week, selection 1s 100 to 150 pounders were $217 to $220. 150 to 200 pounders were $207 to $265. Lighter number 2s were running $135 to $200. And selection 1 weathers 80 to 100 pounders were $225 to $247. 100 to 150 pounders were $225 to $310. Selection 2's lighter ones were $197 to $220. This is Dave Wirt for Ag Market News. Have a good week.